All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Team Errol Spence Jr. breaking a very long silence on the Terence Crawford fight. Gives some insight on where they are as far as the actual fight itself. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what Errol Spence Jr.'s team through the trainer Derrick James has to say about the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight and preparing to fight Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. Not whether the fight is going to happen or not going to happen. That is something that we can, we're going to wait until somebody actually lets us know. But he says some very interesting things about Terence, and I think it gives visibility into how realistic these guys are in their approach to the fight. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for your support. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. So let's get into this. Derrick James is the trainer for Errol Spence Jr., who is the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF welterweight champion. One of the best trainers in the game of boxing for sure. I think he should have been a multiple-time trainer of the year. However, didn't fly for him. I do believe he got Ring Magazine's trainer of the year one time. He's also the trainer of Jermell Charlo, who is an undisputed champion at 154 pounds, holding the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, and the WBO that he just won in his rematch against Brian Castano. Exciting fight where he avenged that draw with the knockout. Definitely one of the best fighters in boxing. And also, Derrick James has an up-and-coming lightweight that goes by the name of Frank Martin that is promoted by Errol Spence Jr. and Man Down. I do believe it's Man Down Promotions. Hope that I didn't mess it up. I believe it's Man Down and not Strap Season Promotions. It's Man Down Promotions. Frank Martin, very electrifying southpaw lightweight who we just saw, on the undercard of Ray Vargas versus Mark Magsayo when Ray Vargas won his 126-pound featherweight title. So one of the best fighters and one of the best trainers in boxing, hands down, very, very serious guy. He recently gave an interview, and this is the first interview that I've heard from either Errol Spence Jr. on this fight or Terence Crawford or Terence Crawford's camp really in a while, or no, Errol Spence or Derrick James in a while. I've heard things come out of Terence Crawford's camp a little bit, like Bernie the Boxer says something, man. I was like, oh, wow. Well, he put this title out yesterday, but I'll probably do that in another video. But Derrick James was asked about the fight, and he says something to me that is like, okay, I'm really glad you said that because it makes a lot of sense. And it's something that, acknowledges that Terence Crawford is a real threat. He's not somebody that you're just going to blow past this guy. And so he admits, look, this is a huge task. In order to beat Terence Crawford, you got to get past this man's speed. You got to get past this man's athleticism in order to beat him. And that's no easy task. This is a really, really big task. Now, he said something like that before, so it's not like this is something necessarily new in him acknowledging that. However, it is something that I think is important when he mentions that, because it's not out here acting as if, Terence Crawford is some guy that just going to blow through and it's going to be easy money. Unlike what you hear out of Terence Crawford's camp, where Terence Crawford is really very, very dismissive about the idea of Errol Spence Jr. being able to do anything with Terence Crawford. You hear Bomac, and Bomac just says, man, we're going to destroy this guy, right? This is, when we get done beating him, you have Terence Crawford talking about what he's going to do after he beats Errol Spence, how he's going to go and fight Jermell after he gets done with Errol Spence, right? Just a lot of stuff on that side of the fence that makes it seem like they are taking that fight, taking the in-house fight for granted. Now, there's some other people that I've talked to, right? And this is just, of the many subscribers and supporters that we have on the channel, get in the comment section. There's a lot of people in the comment section that have very, very good points that they make. And the point that was made that it really hit home for me was like, look, Terence Crawford and Bo Mack and those guys sound like that because Terence Crawford is not going to fight Errol Spence. Like they can say whatever they want, but when you look at Bo Mack and the last time Bo Mack was actually asked about the fight and he said something, you see Bo Mack looking down at the ground like, yeah, hopefully if that fight happens. So, those guys, according to the commenter, it's like, yeah, it's easy to say that, that this guy is easy to beat when you don't have any plans on fighting him, where Errol Spence Jr. really does have a legitimate plan or, an authentic desire. I think that's better. Authentic desire to make that fight. Because if Errol Spence Jr. didn't have an authentic desire to make that fight, he would have already moved on and already been fighting somebody else. So the fact that, we're still waiting on it, not talking about it a lot. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about the negotiations and whether or not that fight's going to happen. Because honestly, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I think it may happen next year, in the beginning of the year, maybe, towards the April-May timeframe, if they're able to make that fight. My preference though would be if fight's not going to happen this year between the two of them, shoot Errol or Terence, whoever won, not just one, either one of them, just fight somebody else, man, so we can get to see these guys in the ring. And then if they get back to the negotiations in the June, the mid-year time frame, then so be it. But don't miss out on a fight this year in order to, hope that you can make it for next year. Now, if they come up with a date that's for February and they come up with that date now, so be it. But just, let's get on with making the fight. But as far as the fight itself, you're talking about this fight is no less of a fantasy fight than a lot of the other fights that we talk about. This fight is a lot more likely to take place. It is a lot more real of a scenario than, say, the fights that we've been talking about with Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis, because anybody with common sense knows that fight's not going to happen. And it's not going to happen because of the stages in which those guys are in their career. Gervonta is a 27-year-old, very seasoned fighter all the way together. Ryan Garcia is still, not fully developed, still fighting with his chin in the air, right? Still getting hit with shots that he shouldn't get hit with. And also Ryan is developing into a star and will develop into a star over time with or without the Gervonta Davis fight. Because, he's just kind of that kind of attraction, right? He's by the standards of a lot of people, he's an attractive guy, right? So, he has that kind of Oscar De La Hoya look to him, and you're going to have people that are going to flock to him, and want to see Ryan Garcia fight. Also, to boot, Ryan Garcia is a very exciting fighter. So, but that fight is not going to happen anytime soon. Same thing with the Gervonta versus Devin Haney fight. That fight is not even, I don't even think a lot of people, that are in the business of boxing really even consider that to be a very, very big fight. So I don't mind continuing to talk about this because, otherwise, man, what's the difference between talking about this and talking about fights like, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, where I know full well Anthony Joshua's not about to fight Tyson Fury because he just came off a loss to Usyk. But anyway, my hat goes off to Derrick James for making that acknowledgement. Very true statement that he made. Appreciate that he said it, and he doesn't look like he's overlooking him, and knows that that Terence Crawford is legitimate, serious dude with the game plan that you got to come up with to overcome his strengths. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.